Hello YouTube, we are back. This is VGH once again. We are here with a wonderful new deck that came out with Temporal Forces. This is Iron Crown, Iron Hands, Future Turbo. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this deck yet, but Future Turbo is actually a lot of fun. It's able to attack on turn 1. It's able to go very quick and set up and find everything it needs, usually utilizing its entire hand in just one quick move. The wonderful new combination of Iron Hands plus Iron Crown is amazing. Iron Crown gives a boost to all of your future Pokemon for doing 20 extra damage for each Iron Crown that is on the board. So if you have all 4, you are able to get a plus 80 damage to your future Pokemon, along with the extra tool, which will give you a free retreat cost plus another 20 damage, making your very simple small attacks do 100 total extra damage, which when you're using that with amp you very much for 120, it can do up to 220 damage and take an extra prize upon knockouts. So this deck is able to go first, but it does play better going second to try and get that attack on turn 1. A single prize Miraidon with a single energy attack that does 40 damage normally. That way, one attack that does 40 damage can, with the booster and 4 Iron Crowns, can hit 140 damage for a single prize 1 energy move. And that move's ability allows you to actually get 2 extra energies from your deck and place them on your future Pokemon in any way. It's an incredible combination. The deck is simple, and I will be happy to show you how it runs in these few games that I got earlier today with the deck. Alright guys, so as our normal standard format, we got a couple of games in, practice it out. Deck is very simple to learn, very quick to pick up, and obviously we found out very quickly that we actually like going second with these matches. Now, I do obviously speed this up for you guys, so you guys don't have to watch the whole like between turns aspect to make it go really quick. And that is our Miraidon that we were talking about. It's got the Peak Ascension attack, which is 1 energy, does 40 damage. Like I said before, it's able to put 2 energy on your future Pokemon in any way that you like, which is a singular energy. Now, the main decks that I'm seeing on ladder after Temporal Forces dropped is Chien-Pao along with a lot of Lugia. So if you're able to outplay those decks, your decks usually will have a much better time, seeing as it's around 60% of what I've been running into. So I would highly suggest trying to figure out what you're going to be working on in order to deal with these decks. So with our board state, we really wanted to try and get that Frigibax up, knock it out really quick, but I don't think we were that aggressive at doing so. We wanted to set up our board very quickly. This is one of my first games with the deck, so I was very unsure of how I needed to go about setting up my board. I figured since it was kind of similar to Battle VIP, I figured Techno Radar would be better, but we have to discard cards for Techno Radar. So it was a little weird trying to figure out what I wanted to do in my first couple of games, so I figured just getting a second one was fine. Realizing it later, the second radar is not really all that effectively good, whereas I could have gotten another Electric Generator to try and set up more on Iron Hands instead to try and get that attack off. But we were able to get this as our board. Usually you want to try and get like 2 hands, kind of similar to Mew, you know, 2 attackers with Mew, but this is the different one where it's like 2 attackers with Iron Hands, and then the other 3 would be Genesect, and now the other 3 are Iron Crown. And then the extra one you kind of want as an attacker to start the game is Miraidon. That was me just showing off what the Iron Crown can do. If you needed to pause the video, you can, but its ability is that all your future Pokemon do 20 extra damage for each Iron Crown on the board, and then all you use is your Miraidon in order to set up those Iron Hands. So if they can clear the Miraidon, you have an Iron Hand set up, and obviously clearing the Miraidon just gives you more space, so that way you can set up a 4th Iron Crown after your Iron Hands are already set up to just keep clearing basically everything. I did want to try and get the Ascension set up regardless, so I didn't really care about the damage all that much, but I was able to set myself up in order to do more plays right later on. I do tend to fail with this Heavy Baton. I'm kind of unsure of what to place it on, like what the better idea is. It's really situational. What I did find out while playing this deck is you really don't want to put any tools on any of your Pokemon unless it's going to be used to get a knockout or use it as a switch option, because there's a lot of these Pokemon that your opponent can actually boss up, and without the tool, let's say, you know, you put on something else and they boss up Iron Crown, it will lock it in for 2 turns, because we do not run that many switch options outside of maybe a couple of switch carts and the 4 tools. But it does give you that ability to have a weird pivot option if your opponent tries to lock you in, say with a Prime Catcher, Counter Catcher, Boss's Orders. Our opponent's board is actually pretty well set up. I was doing the math on Iron Hands to figure out how much damage I would need to do to get to that 220. So I was actually hoping that he would take out my Miraidon, knowing I have the other Iron Crown in my hand, because I do have the full setup, 4 crowns plus the booster capsule plus the 4 energy or the 3 energies to do 160. Sorry, the 4 energies, because I have the other energy in my hand for amp you very much to do 220 damage. The difference also, obviously, I did forget to mention, the arm press still does 160, so if you can't hit it, it can max at 260 damage as well. So it basically will be 2-hit KOing everything, and Lugia is weak to lightning, so amp you very much is actually even easier to clear, which makes a lot of these games very, very much more comfortable. Our opponent, as you saw right there, did clear our Iron Hands that had some energy on it already in the booster capsule, but we already had the full setup here. Like, we had the other Iron Hands from deck with our Nest Ball. We already had everything else set up. We have a total backup Pokemon right there, and we were already hitting for 220 damage just without this, with Arm Press. So we just went for it. We wanted to make sure we had the backup. Obviously, if he does knock this one out, he still needs 2 more prizes, and we get 3 energies back on our Pokemon any way we like, so we can get another Iron Hand set up. But the other Iron Hands will do an extra 20 because of the capsule, and then we can put the Iron Crown down to do the extra 40 damage. So the backup one that we have, with our opponent not knowing, we have plus 40 on it. So he already knows we can do 220 damage against the Chen Pao, so it's pretty nifty. To more or less try and work with the double barrel they have, I don't know if they run a Squovit and it was prized or something along those lines, because of the fact that they're running double Bidoof, double B barrel along with the Frigibax and Baxcalibur. I do see a lot of Chen Paos running a 2-2 line of both, which apparently seems to be more active in the meta. So if you're able to get rid of both of the Frigibax on turn 1, then you're in a good position. Otherwise, it's almost not worth it going after only one of them, because you only get 1 prize. It puts you on a weird prize path. But it looks as though our opponent is going to do exactly what we hope they're going to do. We were planning on this, because if he takes this out, we have the hidden 40 damage that we need to clear, or 20 damage, sorry. The other Iron Crown is in our hands, but they don't know about that, so they might think I don't have it or something along that. So if he takes this out, our energy goes straight to our guy, who can do Iron Hands, amp you very much for 200 damage, and then we just throw down our last Iron Crown, punch up that 220, and collect 3 prizes. Just so simple that we're able to get double prizers off of single prize Pokemon is just so strong, especially in the meta where now we've lost that Battle VIP pass, so you can't get big Pokemon on one. A lot of people are playing that Buddy Poffin to set up evolution based Pokemon. So if you have Boss's Orders options, if you have ways to bring your opponent's weaker Pokemon up, Amp you very much is able to make clears so easily in this meta now. So again, this is our second matchup. I think I got this person twice in a row, so I put both videos in just to show you how effectively useful and easy it is to get these free wins off of Lugia decks. I don't know if I chose to go second here or if he chose for me to go second, because Lugia does like to go first. Yeah, my opponent went first here. So obviously, they're going to want to try and get that Archeops set up so they have everything in the discard pile. They'll have Lugia V-Star in their hand, or a way to get it, such as with Ultra Ball. So that way they're able to actually like get somewhere with their turn 2 setup. But like I said, this deck wants to go second. Mine wants to go second, because I'm still able to make those clears on turn 1. If I get really lucky, it's very easy to set up Amp you very much, especially against a Lugia deck who's weak to electricity. So Amp you very much does 240 on base without Iron Crown. Our board actually gives us Techno Radar, since we can't really use more than 1 energy in a turn anyway. We just want to get everything set up proper. Miraidon is 1 backup option, whereas Iron Hands is the option that we get if we get the energies, which we just do. So we're able to just, you know what? Fine. We're just gonna arm press this man and annihilate him. We did see that our opponent had a Lugia with a gift energy on it, and we didn't want to see it. So instead, we just arm press with our 2 guys, giving us 200 damage times 2 to get 2 prizes, and we're gonna work with that. Yes, our board is a little lax, but at the same time, if he goes Lugia V-Star, we're still able to do that arm press and amp you very much, because amp you very much is now doing 160 because of our Iron Crowns for 320 damage and take another knockout against Lugia V-Star. Our opponent, obviously, you can see, just doesn't have a well set up board. Lugia V-Star runs the Lugia V-Star abilities, runs the Lugia V-Star, the Archeops for the free energy, and now they're running Minccino, which does 70 damage, times the amount of special energy cards attached to it, so it can one-shot basically everything, but it's also a Minccino. There are many ways to get around it. They usually don't set up more than, 2 at a time, and they're both pretty weak Pokemon, so you can probably knock them out, Sacred Ninja or whatever, with other decks. For ours, it's just better because we take 2 prizes off of everything anyway. We top deck, and yeah, that was pretty bonkers, actually. We didn't want to waste the Future Booster Energy Capsule here because we kind of knew the Iron Hands wasn't going to make it to the turn after. But we top decked that Nest Ball, giving us free 3 draw. Amp You Very Much gives us 3 prizes, which is wild, because now we're just down to 1 prize. And no matter what, we were going to win that because we just had a boosted everything. Mew was all good to go, and there was nothing our opponent was going to be able to do to stall. Yeah, and see, as you can see, I think I got Ralph for the 2nd game in a row, Ralph 25-25. I queued into this guy twice. Just on ladder, I hit the go button right after the last round, and I was like, oh, we got another match. Let's see if I can't try and do it again. And this time, I think my opponent knew what I was up against and kind of froze here for a minute, like, because he saw my hand from the mulligan. And I think he's like, this is not fair. I honestly think I have felt this before, so I feel like I know what he was feeling. Like, I don't want to play this matchup. I don't want to do it again. This is not fair. They queued me into the same guy. But this is just what happens on ladder. Sometimes you need to take a 2-second break so that way the other person will queue in. Our opponent started, so we get the first attack. Again, we have an Iron Hands. We got Generator, Future Booster. Our hand looks pretty abysmal, but we try to do what we can. We top deck the Techno Radar, so the board is not dead. We get a free energy discard, and we're able to start getting our other Pokemon set up. I should have had 2 Crowns or a Miraidon rather than the second hands. I don't really know what I was going for there. Got lucky with a Generator and actually set everything up. Now we just have the free switch, and we're able to clear. My opponent, I think, already sees this and just goes, well, okay, I don't want to see this again, and just leaves. I could have also hit Generator, so this is me getting upset that I didn't hit the Generator to get another energy onto the Iron Hands to try and use Amp You Very Much for a clear for 3 prizes. But I wasn't sad by using Arm Press to get rid of his 1 Pokemon. And we also hit him with an Iono, so if he had the setup, then yeah, he would have had everything. But he found Lugia V-Star, but he had no Archeops in discard, so now he's just trying to find them. Great Ball, hits a Snorlax, doesn't find Archeops easy enough, and he just concedes right after this Iono. He whipped away to get rid of an Archeops, so that was as simple as it had to be. I mulligan off of the first round. Now, this is just somebody, I think, trying to play a bit of a meme deck, but it was kind of fun to see it, so I really wanted to get it in here. Funny enough, I think it did the best in terms of these matchups. I will admit, the deck does have its ups and its downs when it comes to matchups. The Iron Crown does have a Psychic Energy in the deck. The list is very similar to Zapdos TCG, if not almost the same, because there really isn't much that needed to be changed with this. I didn't feel anything was clunky or anything was out of pocket or out of the way. I was looking at all of the future cards. There wasn't very many things that could have been added to make this better. The Miraidon is just good as it is. You don't really need more than 2 or 3. I don't remember how many I had. And then the other combo pieces are just Hands and Crown, and it's just that simple. But I do have the feeling that it's very similar to what Entei and Iron Valiant was when Iron Valiant first came out. Everyone was playing that deck. It won a regional in junior level, I think, or maybe advanced. I don't remember which. And it did well, just it underperformed after that. And I think it was only good because it just came out. And I feel like that's what this is going to be. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be really fun. And then it's just going to like kind of peter out. This was our turn 1, by the way. We were able to get that restart, find a Techno Radar, set all of our stuff up just like we did before. And again, this is still early game, so we weren't exactly sure what to grab, but we kind of had everything else set up. And we already had our attack set up. So we're just going to, we wanted to clear the Ralts for the 2-prizer, but seeing as our opponent only had 1 Oinkologne, we kind of like let it go. This is us checking what Oink Alone even does, because no one runs it. My opponent whiffs a Pokégear 3.0, and I was like, oh, we can just win this now. And then I didn't do the math right. I like the Oink Alone. It's using like V-Guard to protect itself and such. We just set up an energy on Miraidon in case we wanted to use it to weaken the Oink Alone. Instead, we go for the easy heal, and we just kind of boost as best as we can. I think we needed the second... No, we didn't go a second hands here. We should have gone a second hands there, so we have another one to set up, but we did what we could. With Oink Alone being weakened and the state being that it is strong enough, we're able to actually spend this one prizer. If he knocks it out, great. If he doesn't, whatever. If he does, we're able to actually counter clear using Iron Hands with 4 energies, with Amp You Very Much, and the boosted Iron Crown to basically lose the Oink Alone and get that value. We unfortunately have a issue with the Iono there. Yeah, so getting hit with Iono, not very fun. But, I mean, we still have Arven for item search, we still have draw power, we have Mew. This deck doesn't run any Ultra Balls to try and thin our hand from the Mew, but we weren't too worried because we still can clear with the Amp You Very Much or the Arm Press, so it didn't matter. My thought process was like maybe clear hand using like something small, like just, you know, playing Iron Hands. Should have kept it for Iron Crown. We're guaranteed getting one tool, so we just get that Heavy Baton, and then we're just gonna look for something else. Our board isn't all that great. Checking how many energies we have left wasn't fantastic, and we also don't run any super odds, so it's like meh at best at what we need to do. We decided to go for the extra prize here because this will put us to 2 prizes to win the game, so it evens everything out, because the prize trade was a little awkward. He also doesn't have an energy on the Oink Alone. I'm sure that obviously he will get an energy on Oink Alone, but we had to at least try and gamble a little bit here. With the 2 prizes that we have left, it was weird that our opponent threw that Oink Alone, the Lechonk there, because if we did set up Iron Hands again, then we could use Iron Hands extra prize the Lechonk. We move Mew forward because free retreat, and in case we get the ability to search deck, stuff like that. We do have the Prime Catcher, so we are able to get that free switch, pull that Lechonk, and then just annihilate it. But we didn't really get everything we needed here. Our hand was kind of not great, so throwing research is fantastic here to try and reset. We get generator, we get energies, we have everything we need. We had all the cards we needed to set up the Iron Hands to basically win us the match right here. But unfortunately, we pushed forward a Pokemon that did not need to be pushed forward. So instead of just letting it go, we just go in with the Lechonk knockout, try and collect all the energies we need. And we have 2 set up 2 prize Pokemon now, which we thought was fine until we realized that if he uses Oink Alone, easily knocks out the Miraidon. What do we do after that? The bigger issue was we do run 1 Lost Vacuum, and these are like the games where I learned how to use your tools better. We have Heavy Baton, we have Future Booster Energy Capsule, but you don't really know which one you want to put on unless it's like a defensive or an offensive move, so you shouldn't put tools on unless you absolutely have to, because before the Oink Alone's 360 HP, we were able to get to 260 damage, but now we obviously no longer could. If we had Lost Vacuum, we could Arven Lost Vacuum, Vacuum removes our own tool, Future Booster ourselves, and then get the 4th Iron Crown to do the extra 100 damage to do 260 with Arm Press. Obviously that did not happen, so we just did what we could. We wanted to put our opponent down just in case they had boss's orders or something to remove our Mew. We throw an Iono to give him 2 cards and hope for the best, because he would still need 1 energy and bosses to win the game. We just draw because, you know, deck thinning the final few cards is never really a bad thing. And our opponent's down to 1 card, so luckily with that, we do clear that game as well. And this is our last match, I believe. This one was a very quick match, just to show off, like, one more thing. Like, this is just something that happens when your opponent just dead draws. And our hand was insane. Look at that. If I had a basic, that would have been, it would have been over on turn 1 anyway. Oh, wait a minute. That's how good the deck is sometimes. We thought it was funny, so we just put it in the video anyway. But our opponent was playing Lost. Somehow, dead draws, flower selecting, he had an extra mulligan and 9 cards. I don't know what he had in his hand that I maybe accidentally hit the end turn button. So all I had to do with 2 Techno Radars was just get the damage, which I very quickly thought about. I was like, wait a minute, I only need to do 70 here, so I just need Miraidon plus 2 Iron Crowns, right? That's it. 1 energy and we're done. And I just did. So it always feels good to get a donk, so figured I'd throw it in there. That wasn't even that long. I think that was like an hour of playing, and I think we had maybe a 5 wins out of 8 game record. Ran into Lugia twice, and I stopped to try and get other games in there, so I actually walked away and then I came back to complete more games. But the deck is a lot of fun. Honestly, it just reminds me of the single brain cell that you need to run Mew VMAX. You need 1 brain cell to run this deck. It literally is just throw things at the board, Iron Valiant goes slap upside the head, and just take all of the prizes in like 3 turns. And then if you survive after that point, then you're going to lose the game. It's just that simple. But it's good for quick and easy matches. I feel like it's one of those decks you can use to just kind of run the ladder really good until, like, I don't know, 900 points or something like that. With the new change to run the ladder to get a achievement score, you can raise your ranking very easily, I think, and very quickly. So I would say give the deck a shot. If you guys like it, let me know. Tell me what things you might want to add to the deck to make it a little bit better. I do feel like it has some sort of inconsistency somewhere, but it's kind of meh at like where I need to change anything. I think all I did was really add an Iono to the deck. But if you guys want to see a list, or you want to see the same list and more games of it, you can head on over to Zapdos TCG. He was the one who got the inspiration of the deck. I saw his list, built my own variant, and honestly, through testing and changing things back, I ended up kind of making the same list that he had by the end of the stream. So absolutely give him I'm giving him a shout out, so I hope you guys go check his video out if you guys want to see more information on it. He probably runs it a lot better than I did. I did not do a lot of playtesting, and I'm sure he did. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys get to go see his video as well. I'll catch you guys later. Good night, everybody.